How's it going, everyone? Jeff Johnson from the Gazette here, along with my cohort KJ Pilcher for the final Prep Huddle Prep podcast of the season. And it's a sad one for us because it's the last one, and because we don't have any games to cover this week. Believe it or not, KJ did the research. Tell the folks how long it's been since the Gazette-area hasn't had a team playing in a football championship game.
We have not had. We have had a finalist all the way going back to 1977.
Man.
And actually, there's only been two times since they started an actual championship game, and not the mythological championships when teams just played pretty much like an 8-game season.
Yeah.
But since 1972, there's only been 2 years we haven't had at least one team in our area playing for a state championship. 77 and 1975.
And the thing is, we had 13 teams in the quarterfinals, if I remember correctly.
13 teams in the quarterfinals, and 2 rounds later, none.
Oh well, there's always next year. We can always hope we'll have like 7 next year or something like that. So, let's run through the semifinals. I guess we can start with I'll start with 5A since that's the one I was at. Liberty losing to Southeast Polk. Champs don't die easily, that's for sure. 38-35. Southeast Polk was the winner there in the 5A semifinals. Liberty scored on its first 2 possessions. Pilch looked really good, 14-0, and actually got the ball back after a punt. Could have added to it, and who knows, that might have been it. But Southeast Polk hung in there, got some breaks with some 50-50 calls on potential turnovers and penalties and things like that. And Liberty, as we mentioned, wasn't the stoutest team defensively, and Holden Hansen, the quarterback for Southeast Polk, had a huge game, and 38-35 was the result. So Reese Reddick had over 350 yards passing. Dallas Miller, 200 and I want to say 60 or 70 yards receiving. Had a interception as well that led to a score. Had a kickoff return to about midfield that helped set up great field position. So he had a great game. But you gotta give props to the Rams, man, and they're playing without Zelenovich, their top receiver, Sam Zelenovich,
Right.
who's been out since late in the regular season as well. So great season for Liberty. Something to build on, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing that you can't discount, even though over the years it's not the same group of players, right? But that experience that Southeast Polk has had, being the 3-time defending champ in 5A, but those things that they've picked up along the way and probably carried down from class to class, you think that had to have played a part in the outcome on Friday night, because had they not been where they've been, they probably really don't overcome some of the defeats in the regular season. Go and knock off 2 higher teams, down a couple scores in the Unidome, and come back and win. I mean, those experiences of the last couple of years certainly had to pay dividends for them in those moments that might have kind of broken other teams.
100% correct. And I mean, they got it going on. It kind of reminds you of Dowling, when it had its incredible run of, what was it, 6 straight championships or something like that. So, yeah, props to the champs. They're still champion. They got one more game left, and that's against West Des Moines Valley on Friday night. A lot of talk in the press box after Valley beat West Des Moines Dowling that this is probably the last game that Coach Gary Swenson will be the head coach. This is 50 years, especially if he wins a championship. 50-year career, you go out with a championship. I mean, you couldn't write a better ending than that. Not saying that he's going to retire, but that was kind of the talk in the press box. So,
Gotcha.
We'll see.
It has been a storied career for him, that's for sure.
Yeah. Spencer before he went to Valley, where he's been for many years, and he's produced good team after good team, no doubt about that. So,
yep. You touched on it really quick, JJ, but just one last thing with Liberty.
Sure.
The outstanding season that put together, shamefully or regrettably, I'll be one of those. I thought they were second or third best team in Iowa City. For them to put together the season that they did, I mean, it was really impressive. I mean, there's probably 100 adjectives that you could use for it, but they were week in and week out the best team on the field. And I mean, they earned the number 1 seed, which is saying a lot. Even in the games that they did lose, they were highly competitive. So, just hats off to Scott Chandler, the Lightning, and what they were able to accomplish. I know it's not they're not accepting a consolation prize of just getting to the dome, right? That's not what they were focused on doing, but it still doesn't diminish the absolutely great season that they put together this year. Replacing some key guys, they really showed you something all year.
I was watching. I was just. I think that's the second or third time I'd seen Liberty this season. It was talking to somebody. It's just Scott Chandler's offense. I mean, it's so creative. There's some motion at times, a lot of motion. There's way different, tons of different formations. They had playmakers and they tried to get them all the ball, and they did a great job doing that. And quarterback Reese Reddick's only junior, so he's going to be back, and they're going to miss a lot of the other skill guys, your Millers, your Kohlers, your Deckers, guys like that. But there's no doubt that I mean, this is just a start, I think, for that program. I think it has a chance to be one of the the better programs. Might already be in Eastern Iowa. We'll see. So, what do you think about that championship game? Why don't we just go through the classes here, Pilch? You got a prediction?
Oh, geez. I don't know. At the start of this, I said that Southeast Polk kind of gave me Valley vibes from the year before, where Valley made a great run to the finals after kind of having a 4-5 season. Is Zelenovich out again, or is there any hope that he'll be back for this championship game? Out?
No, he's out. I think he blew out a knee, from what I was told. So
okay, I know Valley's healthy and has got guys back. I guess I hate going against a team that has been on top until you knock them off the hill, but I'll go with Valley on this one, just because. Yeah,
I think so as well. That's my prediction in 5A. So let's look back at your game on Saturday, which was a humdinger in the Class 3A semifinal between Mount Vernon and Humboldt. Kind of like the Liberty game in a way. Mount Vernon got out to a lead, but Humboldt ends up out on top 28-25. Tell us a little bit about that game.
Yeah, Mount Vernon got off to a really good start. Believe they scored on their opening possession. just kind of marched down the field and then converted I think maybe they got a field goal on the opening possession, got a stop, and then went down and scored on a pass from Haverback to Watson Krobe. Then Jace Jaspers. Mount Vernon has that kind of funky little lineup, and the direct snap to Jace Jaspers to run in conversions, and they did that and converted. So they're up 11-0 after the first. The second quarter, momentum kind of switched a little bit. You could see that early Mount Vernon's rush really wreaking havoc with Colin Matson, the quarterback of Humboldt. So Humboldt tries to negate the rush by hitting these short, quick pass plays, and it worked. Matson delivered the ball very well. His receivers made nice catches and runs. And then next thing you know, it's 14-11 in the second quarter. And, Mount Vernon kind of they had some miscues. There were times they drove into Wildcat territory, especially in like the second half of the second quarter, and ended up with interceptions and no points out of it, which turned out to be huge because they end up falling by a field goal in the end. But in the second half, it was 14-11. Humboldt ends up getting a touchdown, and you kind of thought, okay, this might be it. But Mount Vernon answers again. I think Cooper Hurd had a rushing touchdown. And a receiving touchdown. Then Humboldt scores to go up 28-18 with about maybe four or 5 minutes to go, and then you think, all right, that's the nail in the coffin, right? Mount Vernon answers again. Haverback to Mikey Ryan. I think it was third and long, and they completed a 23-yard touchdown where Ryan caught the pass right at the goal line and able to get over the into the end zone before hitting the ground. So that brought him within 3. And then, the thing that comes to mind after that is you need your biggest players to make plays. I know it sounds, goofy coach speak, but you need your biggest players to come through at crucial times. So when they're down 28-25 with a couple minutes to go and 3 timeouts, you got 3 straight stops from Ethan Wood. Your all-stater going to North Dakota State, where I believe he got a sack, he got a tackle for maybe back-to-back tackles for no gain. And that got Mount Vernon the ball back with just under 2 minutes to go. And then unfortunately, Haverback's blindsided, trying to extend the play, and the ball pops out and Humboldt's able to recover. But man, credit Humboldt. The last 2 games with Solon and Mount Vernon, they forced 9-10 turnovers?
Yeah.
Against 2 quality teams. I mean, that's doesn't happen by mistake, especially against good teams. So that's a team that I think we talked about it last week, maybe JJ, that the turnover margin for both of these 2 teams were outstanding all year long. And Humboldt did it again, got some key turnovers in very vital moments of the game, and they end up holding on to win 28-25 in what was, I tell you what, 3A both games. Sergeant Bluff Luton, the difference was a blocked extra point, 17-16. That was a fun game to watch Saturday right before Mount Vernon and Humboldt. And then they they provided another exciting game. So 3A, those teams, outstanding games, and a great season for Mount Vernon under head coach Brad Meester. We talked about Scott Chandler. Here's another NFL former, standout at a state
All-pro. Yep.
school. He was at AP, UNI. I didn't realize he'd spent his entire NFL career with the Jaguars, but that tells you a lot. That his long NFL career was for one team, and huge contributor up front for Jacksonville all those years. He's in his first year as head coach, like Chandler, who went to Iowa, played in the NFL. There's a correlation there, probably. But fantastic season in his first year as head coach, and they've got some good tools, a lot of talent coming back. They're going to be a solid team again next year, no doubt about it.
All right, I'll go first on the prediction for 3A. I say Wallert's going to finish it off. I don't know how. I guess when you block an extra point to win a game, that says something, I guess. But I think it's going to be a heck of a championship game, and I could see either team winning easily. But I'm going with the Golden Eagles.
I tell you what, I was very impressed with Wallert's defense. Right? I mean, we talked about like the numbers, and you can see our capsules where we talk about how much they lead 3A and giving up like 7.5 points a game, all that kind of stuff. But when you see the product on the field, I tell you what, Wahlert, they're very disciplined. They move laterally very well. And I can't tell you how many times Sergeant Bluff Luton tried to maybe induce some over pursuit and try to cut things back, and Wahlert got right there. It did not work. They stayed in their lanes. They did a nice job with their assignments, and you can't, it's hard to get plays like that when you have guys that one are talented and two are disciplined with their jobs. So I was really impressed with Wahlert to get Sergeant Bluff Luton in that aspect. But boy, I tell you what, Humboldt, their offense with Cone Matson, being able to throw the ball, being able to run the ball. I think he showed his experience where, he was able to adjust when, the rush was getting to him. He delivered real quick, short passes. When he decided to scramble, it was decisive, and, he was able to get free for some gains. He's not easy to bring down either. Man, what a great matchup between that defense and offense. But, Wallert's going to have to play a perfect game. I mean, we see what Humboldt does defensively, getting the ball. I'll go with Humboldt. I'll just kind of go the opposite way. Flip a coin, right? But if you take Wahlert, I'll take Humboldt.
All right. Fair enough. The other game on Saturday, the other games, Class 2A, we were really looking forward to these because we felt, I think, Pilch, you would agree that the four teams that made it to the semifinals were the four best teams in 2A. And it turned out we didn't either game was close. Spirit Lake beat PCM, Prairie City of Monroe, 56-28. Cooper Lunt had, I think, 370 some yards passing for Spirit Lake, which got out to a 21-0 lead after the first quarter and never looked back. And then West Lyon, doing what West Lyon does, beat Van Meter 49-24 again, got out to a quick start. And just kind of looking at the stats here. Believe it or not, the Wildcats, who are known for their ground and pound historically, got 244 yards passing from Bryson Childers, their quarterback, 19-24.
Wow.
So we got an all-Western Iowa final, Spirit Lake and West Lyon. I'm going to ask you to go first this time. Who do you got?
Well, Spirit Lake's been my top. It was my preseason number one. We talked about that last week. I picked them. I'm going to stick with them. I'm gonna stick with Spirit Lake.
Spirit Lake's only loss was in the opener to a really, really good 3A team from Algona by 2 points, 42-40. So I'm gonna flip. I'm gonna go the other way. It's hard to beat West Lyon. Yep. So I don't know why, but I'm gonna go with West Lyon in the for the 2A championship here. So let's go. Let's flip it to 8-man real quick. That was played Wednesday, I believe, exactly a week ago. The semifinals. We had a thriller in the first one. Remsen St. Mary's upended defending champ Algona Garrigan 22-20, and then Gladbrook Rhinebeck took care of Lennox 43-27. So that sets up St. Mary's and GR for the championship. GR has not won one in 8-player, although it won a couple, I believe, in the Class A 11-player game. So I don't know. Those St. Mary's boys, there's just something about them, Pilcher. They only have I think 18 kids on the roster, freshman through senior. Enrollment in the school is like 50. So, you basically have all the boys out playing football. They're great in basketball as well. Good in baseball. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is. I just think Remsen pulls out what I think will be a close game. What you got?
Okay, so last week, when we asked this, I went with Remsen St. Mary's.
Yep.
I was so close, but cowardly of pulling the trigger on Gladbrook Rhinebeck. I happen to find out that my Opinion Combination podcast co-host, Dick Briggs, has a nephew who's a kicker on the Gladbrook Rhinebeck team.
Nice.
And I am going to use some dumb, goofy logic and switch. I'll take Gladbrook Rhinebeck in an upset.
Fair enough.
Maybe Dick Briggs' nephew with an extra point or a field goal to.
There you go. Love it. Let's look at Class A semifinals from last week. We had West Hancock defeating Madrid 50-35. And, Lindy called it. Tri-Center. He said he'd like Tri-Center, and Tri-Center beat St. Ansgar 42-14. The West Hancock game, the Eagles did not attempt to pass. Ran for 450 yards to literally run it right down Madrid's throat. So pretty amazing there. And then Tri-Center, 283 yards from a sophomore quarterback passing, couple of touchdowns. AJ Harder, 196 yards rushing from Carter Kuntz, 4 touchdowns. The Trojans are legit. First time in the Unidome, playing, I believe, in the semifinal game. And, now all Tri-Center's got to do is try and somehow slow down that West Hancock rushing game.
Right. Kudos to Tri-Center. I mean, that's a big win there in the semis over St. Ansgar. A team with a storied tradition. But with West Hancock, I mean, there is just something so. I mean, I know coaches say it doesn't matter what the other team does. If we do what we want to do and execute it, we're going to be just fine. But for West Hancock, everybody knows they're running the ball.
Yeah.
Everybody knows. And they're still able to do it. And not just do it, JJ, but they averaged 10.2 yards per carry. That's the equivalent of just coming up to the line and going, hey, we're coming right at you and doing it.
Yep.
We're going to run right over you. And the next play, we're going to run right over you. And, hey, you in the middle there, we're coming at you after that. And they're moving the chains
I
on
know.
average each run. I mean, and especially being this time of year when you're doing that against a semifinalist and a strong team in Madrid that, really kind of held Lisbon, and they've got a tradition too. So these aren't tomato cans that they're kicking around either.
Right.
44 carries for 450 yards and 7 touchdowns. What's that? A touchdown every 6?
I think so. Yeah,
7 carries?
Yep, 6 carries.
Yeah. A touchdown every 6 carries in the semis. The semis.
Right.
I mean, that's crazy. So
that's it is. It's
so Tri Center, you know what's coming.
exactly.
Can you come up with another strong performance? That'll be the question. If they can shut down that run game, and we'll see.
I'm going Wes Hancock in this one, Pilch. I know.
Okay, I'm gonna piggyback with you.
All right. Credit to Coach Kevin Sanger for, you would have thought maybe he'd go, I got to call at least one pass play. This
Just to keep him honest, right?
That's right, but he didn't. So good for them. Good for Wes Hancock, a commanding performance to get into the Class A championship game. And then later on, these were Thursday's games last week. Class 3A, we had Pella beating Council Bluffs Lewis Central 28-16. And North Polk comfortably over North Scott 35-7. You saw North Polk. You know how good they are. I figured they might do what they did against North Scott, kind of slowed down the spread attack, the passing game that the Lancers employ. And as Gordo jumps on my screen for the millionth time, Pella, very impressive. Very balanced offensive attack, 251 yards passing, 221 rushing in knocking off Lewis Central. So that sets up Pella and North Polk in the finals. I'll let you pick the winner here, I guess. So,
well, I'll just point out North Polk scored 35 points against North Scott. The final 35 points against North Scott. A week after scoring the first 35 points against Cedar Rapids Xavier. You think about that. Those are two programs that have been, they're mainstays in the dome. And North Polk has beaten Xavier twice in the quarterfinals, knock off North Scott. This year, they've been absolutely dominant. They've got big playmakers in Nathan Feldman, a dual threat quarterback. BJ Tate is a nice compliment to him in the backfield. And I'm saying all this great stuff about North Polk, and it's not going to make any damn sense. But I picked Pella last week. They pretty much held on and beat Lewis Central and stopped their winning streak. So even though I said all these glowing things about North Polk, I'm going with Pella just because, McKinstry, the history there. I think they just find a way and win a tight one. But I certainly am not going to be surprised if North Polk comes out and wins and does something like they've done the last 2 weeks against North Scott and Xavier.
These are two even teams to me. Pella's playing very well, as you mentioned, right now, and has the history. North Polk obviously has played well all year. It's kind of, they're pretty close together geographically, but they're in different districts, so they didn't play each other, which turns out to be good because I think they're the two best teams without doubt in 4A. So I'm going to go to North Polk. I think the comments finish it off. So Yeah, we're contrary on these. I like it. One of
Yeah,
us should have bragging rights.
right. And
Right.
think of how many teams have beaten Xavier and North Scott and threw up 35 straight points on both of them.
Yeah.
That I don't know if that's ever happened. So yeah, this Comets team is really, really good, and it should be an entertaining. Might be a pretty hard hitting, fun
Yep.
game.
Down to the wire.
Was that tomorrow night, Thursday night, right, to close off the first day?
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
That's right. So, and then the last class we haven't talked about, Class 1A, and both these games went, I think, as expected. Grundy Center beat Wilton handily, 42-7, and Dyke New Hartford got out to a big lead, or a fairly big lead, I think, and Hinton came back in the fourth quarter, made it a game, but it wasn't quite able to come all the way back. Dyke New Hartford with the 24-18 win. So that sets up the rematch. Dyke New Hartford and Grundy Center. They played the beginning of the regular season. Grundy won. Grundy's won like 336 games in a row or something like that. Long win streak on the line here. Is there any reason to think that that Dyke can end that win streak?
Just off the top of my head, I say no.
Yeah.
Look what they've been able to do here. They just seem to get stronger as the season has gone on, if that even makes any sense. They beat Dyke New Hartford 21-7 in that opener on August 30th. And they really haven't given up much more than 7 points all season. 13 to Alburnett in a big win where they won 41-13. Then they beat Eddyville, Blakesburg, Fremont 55-16. But when you're holding teams and good teams, Wilton, they finally cracked the code against Regina, and what they get as a reward is facing Grundy, and Grundy whipped them 42-7. So
yeah,
I just don't see Dyke overcoming this one and see Grundy winning.
I'm with you. I'm going Grundy here. They always say it's hard to beat a quality opponent more than once in a season, but I think the Spartans just have something pretty amazing going on right now in small school football, and I think Grundy wins it again. So that's all the games, I guess. I want to point out that we have an all-area team that we're going to pick, circulation area. So we're going to do that next week or the week after. I don't remember. But if anybody has any suggestions, feel free to reach out to either of us for kids that you think are deserving on that team. That's at JEJE66 at KJ Pilcher.
Yeah, and just add on to that, we kind of distinguish a coach of the year, player of the year, and then kind of sub offensive and defensive players of the year. So, in addition to the one defensive, offensive teams, we have those distinguishing honors as well. So something we take a lot of pride in. Is it going to be perfect? Never is. We do our best to try to get the best players on there and who we think are deserving, and certainly isn't going to match up to everybody, but that's what they're there for, to converse and talk about and share your opinions on. And we certainly welcome, like you said, any suggestions, any ideas as far as people you feel are worthy.
It was a very quick season, Pilch. I thought, again, great weather all season up until with the exception of the one game that we won't mention.
Yeah, right.
Regular season between Ankeny and Cedar Rapids, Washington. But a lot of great football. it sucks for us that we don't have anybody playing for a championship, but hey, that's the way it works sometimes. And now we're gonna refocus. You know, you got wrestling already with Iowa and the big Iowa State meet on Saturday.
Yep. Starting at 6 p.m. at Carver. If you get a chance and you still have some more time to fill in your day while you're working and want to listen to the Pinning Combination podcast, that'll be posted today. And we have Mark Ironside on. He joined us this week. We talked a little Iowa State stuff. We talked about his broadcasting career as the voice of Iowa wrestling and his work with Stephen Grace. We also talked about the worst shot. He's a big hunter, and a lot of times he's taken wrestlers and coaches and stuff hunting with them. And we talked about what Iowa wrestler is the worst shot that he's seen, and it's a pretty funny story. So that might just be worth logging on and listening to that. Might surprise you a little bit, but it's pretty entertaining, and Mark's always pretty entertaining. So
outstanding. Yeah, the Pinning Combination, that's on the Gazette.com website, folks. So definitely listen to that. High school wrestling is getting underway here soon, both boys and girls. Girls basketball is they're over a week into practice. The boys started Monday for basketball. So we just flip a switch and head into the winter season. So after
and you guys will have your basketball podcast starting up in a little while, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you know, Iowa women, that's Jeff's he covers that, and they've got a handful of games in already. So a lot to talk about. Thanks for joining us, folks. Believe me, it's our pleasure when we say we do this. We love it. We love honoring the athletes and the coaches and the communities. So, with that note, Pilch, you wanna tell us one last time? Actually, we didn't do it all season, but we'll do it now.
But we're gonna do it now, and this one is for our friend John Haggerty. I know he always liked it. We haven't done it this year, but in our last one of the season, we'll remind everybody, thanks for watching, and keep your head on a swivel.